Alright guys, welcome back. In today's episode, I wanted to get into something that I think kind of resonates with a lot of us, especially when we're starting out in the beginning, which is presets. Should you buy them? Have I bought them? What my experience with them has been? And would I recommend them? So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so have I bought presets in the past? Yes. And the reason for that is, we've all been through it. We're scrolling through Instagram, we're seeing, oh, that looks really cool. And it's a cool image, it's a cool look, it's a cool, like the colors and everything looks really nice. And you go, you know what, let me try it out. Let me download these, let me, buy these, and let me see how it works out with the stuff or the photos that I take. And I would say out of you'll buy either dozens or hundreds of them. And I would say maybe one or two of them really stood out where I went, yeah, this one would work. And maybe I'll save those. But the remaining 3 dozen presets that you get or whatever the case may be, it's just filler, just basically to buy stuff, in my opinion. I've found that generally speaking, once you find a preset that speaks to your type of work and to your style, everything else just kind of seems a little bit too gimmicky. So for example, some presets look very cinematic and very they have that orange and teal kind of look that was big years ago. And it does look cool, but you also have to remember that in order for that preset to work in the way that it looks in that photo, you have to shoot in that kind of style for it to work, precise, for it to look how it looks in that preset. So 9 times out of 10, if your style is not that, it's not necessarily going to work. Same thing with a lot of these light and airy type of presets. If you apply that preset to a photo that has off-camera lighting, that has a more dark and dramatic kind of feel, it's not really going to give you the look that you want, because if you pull the highlights down to -100 on some of those photos, it's going to look very overcooked and funky. So generally, you can see where I'm leaning on this. Presets are something that I don't like to use as a crutch. Tankers! So as you can see, I'm kind of leaning towards one side. You don't want to use presets as a crutch. You don't want to look at a photo and go, you know what, I'll throw a preset on this and that'll make it better. Sorry, my tank is running around and he runs the show. This is his basement, this is his house, so we'll just let him get it out of him. Right, boy? Back to business. I think that the biggest thing is when you're trying to figure out presets, when you're trying to create presets, because that's really the advice that I would give you, is you can study your photos and look at all the photos that you shoot, see the style that you shoot, and what looks good 90% of the time. So for example, for us, we have our standard TNK photo preset. And I'll tweak it here and there, I'll change the saturation slightly, I'll do a couple of things here and there. But generally speaking, that same preset has been the same preset that we've used since, I would say, 2014, back when I was developing, exactly what kind of look I like. While I experimented with presets and all that and different types of variations of things that were available online, once I found what worked for me, I kind of stuck to that as far as our standard shots. So even earlier today, when I posted a photo of a bridal session that we did in Arkansas, this was back in 2013, 2014, but if you put it next to any photos that we've taken in the last year or two, you're going to see that the photos are going to be very, very similar in aesthetic and feel and editing and quality. And that to me has always been the goal, is if you're going to have a preset, have something that's going to be relevant today and it's going to be relevant 5 years from now, 10 years from now, so it doesn't feel outdated in a couple of years. So that, I would say, is the main takeaway from this video, is experiment. I'm not saying don't try out presets. Don't, play with color grading and all that. Do it, because it is fun. And for some photos, it does definitely bring a different energy to those shots. But don't get so hung up on the preset, finding the right preset. It's finding your own voice, I think, is the most important thing. And that's going to last you for a much longer period of time than a preset that came pre-cooked and it worked on one photo, so it's going to work on all photos now. It doesn't usually work that way. I think that creating your look is a much more gratifying and much more important aspect of your photography that's going to last a lot longer. And the last thing that I wrote in my notes is be patient, because that's not going to come overnight. It's not going to be, I found my preset and now it works for it. It's something that you work and develop and find in order to have something that is your go-to. Like I said, with our preset, we have one that click and it pretty much gets us 80% of the way there, and then we do tiny adjustments from there. So I just wanted to make a quick video on that, on presets. Personally, I don't think it's worth the money. I think it is a waste. And then once you buy one, all you get is preset advertisements on Instagram. So take it from me, clearly you can see that I've gone through that. So just skip over that nonsense and find your own voice, experiment, and it'll come. It'll just take a little bit of time, and eventually people will recognize your photos. Because when I see, let's say, our team members post their photos on their Instagram, I go, oh shit, oh yeah, that is us. That makes sense, because we have a signature look. Anyway, let me know if you guys have any questions. Leave them in the comments below. I always respond to them. So until next time, thank you guys for watching.